Deep in the Rocky Mountains of Bagalkot district in northern Karnataka, lies an architectural wonder. The tiny town of Badami is home to the rock-cut Badami caves, a complex of Hindu and Jain cave temples. The cave temples in Badami are remnants of the Chalukya dynasty that ruled the town from 540 AD and 757 AD. The popular cave temples surrounding Lake Agasthya are an example of Badami Chalukya architecture and Indian rock-cut architecture. According to historical texts, Badami was known by many names. The capital of the Chalukya dynasty was also called Vataapi. The town is located at the exit point of a ravine between some steep mountains of red sandstone. According to the Puranas, the place derived its name from the wicked demon Vataapi. Vataapi and his brother had tricked and killed over 9,000 people. Later, the legendary sage Agasthya killed the demon brothers using his dharmic powers. In 540 CE, Pulikeshi I founded the Chalukya dynasty. The king chose Vataapi, which was protected on three sides by rugged sandstone cliffs, as his capital. Between the 6th and 8th centuries, the Chalukyas ruled much of Karnataka, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. Pulikeshi I's sons Kirthivaman and Mangalsha constructed the famous temples in the Badami caves. The fort and medieval temples in and around Badami are heritage sites and very popular among tourists. Let's explore the architectural wonders in Badami. The cave temples are numbered 1 to 4 according to their creation. The 4 cave temples are carved into the steep cliff face above a man-made lake called Agasthya Tirtha. The temples are carved into the monolithic stone face of the red sandstone cliff. The first cave in the Badami cave temples is built 59 feet above ground level towards the northwestern part of the hill. Cave 1 is dedicated to the Hindu god Shiva. The walls, ceiling and columns of the cave are covered with sculptures and carvings of Shiva and his sons, Ganesha and Kartikeya. There are several other sculptures of the goddess Parvati and her different avatars. All the sculptures of the gods and goddesses are adorned with carved ornaments. The figures are surrounded by borders with reliefs of floral garlands, animals and birds. The cave temples are connected by over 200 steps carved into the mountain. The interconnecting steps have intermediate terraces that overlook the town of Badami and the lake below. The temples in caves 1 to 3 are dedicated to Hindu gods, whereas cave 4 is dedicated to Mahavira, the founder of Jainism. This is the second cave in the Badami caves complex. Second cave temple faces the north and is a mere 64 steps above cave 1. The temple in cave 2 is dedicated to the Hindu god Vishnu. The floor plan in cave 2 is similar to the first cave. It has a veranda, a main hall and a shrine. The walls, ceilings and pillars in the cave are carved and sculpted like those in cave 1. The sculptures in the cave depict the various avatars of Vishnu. The interior of the cave temple is decorated with friezes which depict stories from Hindu texts, like the Bhagavata Purana. The friezes depict the legends of the Samudra Manthan and the birth of Krishna among several others. "60 steps away from cave 2 is the third cave, which is at a higher altitude than the second cave. Cave 3 is the largest of the Badami cave temples and is also the oldest dated Hindu temple in the Deccan region. The exact date of construction is only known for this temple. An inscription in the temple records that King Mangalsha dedicated the temple to Vishnu in Saka 500, lunar calendar 578-579 CE. The inscription written in Old Kannada is proof that it's the oldest firmly dated Hindu cave temple in India. The cave temple 3, which faces towards the north, has been carved 60 feet deep into the mountain. The temple in cave 3 is mainly dedicated to Vishnu, but there are sculptures of different avatars of Shiva as well. So the temple in cave 3 is important to Shivism studies too. Like the other two caves, Cave 3 is also decorated extensively with sculptures and frescoes. Some of them are faded and broken, but they are the earliest known proof of fresco painting in Indian art. Some of the artworks in this cave also show the artist's signatures and other inscriptions. Cave 4 in the Badami Caves complex is on a slightly lower level than Cave 3. The fourth cave, which is the smallest of the Badami cave temples, is located right next to the third cave. This temple is dedicated to the Jain Tirthankaras, the revered figures of Jainism. This temple is believed to have been constructed in the later part of the 7th century by Hindu kings. Cave 4 is also decorated with detailed sculptures and a diverse range of motifs. Some of the embellishments in the cave suggest that they were added much later, during the 11th and 12th centuries. The walls of the cave are carved with the figures of Bahubali, Parshvanatha, Mahavira and several other Jain Tirthankaras. The small shrine inside the temple has an idol of Mahavira resting on a pedestal. The town of Badami is home to several other cave monuments and temples other than the 4 cave temples. Another 7th-8th century cave temple lies on the other side of the Agasthya Lake, near the Boothanath temple. This cave temple from the Chalukya period is much smaller in dimension compared to the temples in the Badami caves complex. Boothanath group of temples comprises of a bunch of sandstone temples, all dedicated to Lord Shiva. This group of temples is situated nearby the well-known Badami cave temples. It is one of the earliest examples of structural temples in South India. This temple was built during the reign of the Chalukyas of Vataapi, as Badami was known then. Later additions were built by the Kalyani Chalukyas of the west. Boothanath group of temples came under the influence of Jains for a period of time. Later, it was taken over by the Lingayats, who installed a Shiva Linga in the shrine and a Nandi in front. This lake is called Agasthya Tirtha or Agasthya Lake. It is said to be almost 5th century old and has high religious values. People believes that the water of the lake can heal anyone and anytime. Boothanath temples located in the east sides of the Agasthya Tirtha lake add to the beauty of the place. Boothanath group of temples includes 2 major temples, one on the east and the other on the northeast side of the Agasthya Tirtha. The temple on the northeast side of the lake is the Mallikarjuna Temple. It belongs to a later period and it was built during the reign of the Western Chalukyas. A small ancient well-crafted temple which usually gets unnoticed in Badami, it's called Yallamma Temple. Built by the later Chalukyas in the 11th century CE, this small but beautiful temple is on an ancient dam on the western end of the Agasthya Lake in Badami. Getting around Badami is quite easy as it is a small town. Early morning or evenings are best for visiting the caves and one can get perfect photography opportunities during these timings. The best way to experience the place is on foot as there are many sites to withhold aside from the iconic and popular ones. Hope you like the video, kindly share your feedback. We are going to upload another video of Badami, the magnificent architecture and motifs of the Mallikarjuna Shivalaya Temple and Badami Fort, so please stay tuned. Thank you all for watching.